I've got no clever intro for this one. It's just Killers of the Flower Moon. Um, this right out the gate, right out the gate. This is one of those films that sticks with me the day after a little bit, and not in a bad way, but in a way where I'm like, wow, that movie had an impact. That movie definitely got its what it was saying, telling across, and I really respected it for it. That said, as good as a movie as I think this is, and I think this is a damn good movie, is going to be up for some Academy Awards. Martin Scorsese does it again. I'm not sure I'll be seeing this again anytime soon. I'm definitely not going back to the theater to watch it. Uh, why is that? For me, this weird, and this is a weird compare, not a weird comparison, but maybe a weird thing to say about the film I'm comparing it to. It feels a bit like The Godfather in the sense that, wouldn't you know, no, that's Francis Ford Coppola. I was about to say, wouldn't you know, so you guys know. But it feels a bit like The Godfather that it's very long. It's 3 hours long. It's not I mean, there's pleasant shots, but it's not a pleasant film to look at. Everything is very mud. Everything is very dirt feeling. Everything is very earthy feeling. Nothing. There's definitely some color to it in scenes, and it's well shot and all that. But it's a grimy film. I think that's the best way. It's kind of a grimy film to watch because of all just kind of what's going on. Not just in terms of like the locations, everything, the oil, the mud, but in terms of the context of what's going on. And what is the context of what's going on? Well, Killers of the Flower Moon is based off a best-selling book about real events that happened. Members of the Osage Nation in the United States are murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s, which sparks a major FBI investigation that involves J. Edgar Hoover. And this is, in fact, something that did historically happen on, at least to a certain degree. And the book was based on that. And another movie was based off this as well. But yeah, when I compare it to The Godfather, it is very, epic in many ways feeling. It's very crime, family kind of feeling. But it's also, when people die in this, when people, say, get a headshot, it's not something cool and stylized like John Wick or that new one coming out, Silent Night, by people who did John Wick. And John Woo, which looks like a lot of fun. No, there's no bombastic music. It's very just, and then silence, and you're just left with a dead body and the person walking away who did it. And it's just like it gets uncomfortable when there's death. There is death. So on that ground, I'm like, it's a little similar to how I felt with Joker, but nowhere near as much. Joker is one of those weird, paradoxes where I'm like, I recognize everything as good as how good everything is in this film. But because of the subject matter and how it's being told, I don't know if I like this film. This is not that. I definitely recommend watching this film if you're looking for a period epic period piece. Napoleon's going to be a period epic, let's be honest. But if you're looking for a period piece telling part of our history, and not a pleasant part of our history, this would definitely be it. All the acting is right there. The standouts would be your big three main leads, which would be the three listed on here: Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Lily Gladstone. They are your three main leads. Everyone else plays big parts in the movie, and there are major side characters, but characters like Brendan Fraser doesn't show up till the very end, and he's only in a couple scenes. John Lithgow is also in the movie. Didn't know that. He's only in a couple scenes. Jesse Plemons doesn't show up till near the end. He's good. Everyone is fantastic, but it's these three. It is these three with whom this movie's shoulders are held upon. I'll get that after I continue to comment about the acting. Right out the gate, let's talk about Leo. Leo, this is a little bit different than some of his other roles. Now, don't get me wrong, I am getting, when I hear his accent and all his mannerisms, I'm hearing a little bit of his character and seeing a little bit of his character from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it's really only in kind of tone and how he's kind of handling himself a little bit. The character is completely different, and they do a damn good job at making this guy kind of a bastard for what he's doing. But you still see that there is a good man in there that does, in fact, love his wife. Like he even says in the movies, like yeah, when they're like asking him, it's like, did your uncle tell you to, marry her and get her money? He's like, no, no. I met her. I met her because I married her because I met her in my car, and I love her. I fell in love with her. She's my wife. Like no, you could tell he legitimately does love her and hates the fact that he knows what he's doing. But at the same time, he's not overly bright. He is a coward when it comes to his uncle till very near the end. And he is also just lazy and greedy at the same time. So yeah, they do a fantastic job at really kind of like towing the line of just how much do you hate him, but also just how much do you sympathize. Whereas Lily Gladstone's character, Molly Burkhart, all you're doing is sympathizing. She is she's an Osage who's ultimately going to inherit a lot of money, hence the bumping off of a lot of family. She has diabetes. But she's stubborn. She is very intelligent. She's not a fool, but she's also can see that even though he's not a bright guy, he was, at least at a time, was a good man, and that's what she fell in love with. And so, yeah, and then her struggle and what she's going through, it's just horrible. So when the movie ends the way it ends, and you learn ultimately what happened. It's like, well, what happened, at least in the context of this. It's like, okay, there's some level of justice in this story, absolutely. But look, if there's going to be a scene stealer and a guy up for an Academy Award this year, Robert frickin' De Niro, man. Robert De Niro playing William Hale is one of the most likably loathsome guys. Because just right from the trailer, he's the one who's orchestrating the murders. But he's so good at playing someone who cares, because in his head, he does care. But he wants the money more. That's the thing. In his twisted logic, he loves these people. He is friends with these people. He's seen a lot of these people grow up. But he just wants the money. He just thinks it should be rightfully theirs. And so it's amazing how you actually do buy the fact he cares while also knowing that he is a monster of a human being. And it's like he just feels it like a means justify the end thing. Like, I don't want to do it, but it's got to be done kind of thing. And he is magnetic anytime he's on the screen. Like you can't not watch him. Like Robert De Niro is one still at going on 80 something now. How old is Robert De Niro? Let's find out. I know he's in his 80s, I think, or late 70s, one of the two. Okay, born. So he's had his birthday this year. So let's see here. Oh, perfect, actually. It's 43. So he would be, as of right now, he was 60. He just turned 80 this year. He just turned 80. And he's still this freaking good. Oh, man. Robert De Niro, man. One of the goats. One of the goats. But then and beyond that, you get all the other acting, which is just top notch, especially in the movie. You're getting from everyone from the white side of things to the O'Shea side of things. Which, by the way, Martin Scorsese was very adamant about this. The level of respect that they show to the Indian people, to the O'Shea people, is fantastic. Like, I mean, again, I speak as a completely 1/64th Cherokee. Yeah. Yeah, I've never once been one of those guys. Yeah, I'm 1/64th Cherokee, so I have it. No. I have no rights. I am a pasty white man. I have too many rights as it is that I probably don't even take advantage of. So no, I say this from the perspective of a white person. And if there's anyone who knows about the lore culture or anything better than I do and realizes that they did not do something properly in the movie, please let me know why I'm an idiot, and I will thank you kindly for it. But as far as I can tell, there was a huge amount of respect paid for this and paid to these people. Martin Scorsese even opens the film up by saying, like, this is a very personal story to me, which I'm not exactly sure why it is for him, being a Italian guy, white Italian, but regardless, maybe immigration or something. I don't know exactly why it's personal for him. He never really said. Maybe he did in an interview and I just don't know. But he clearly had a lot of love and heart for this story and for the people. And it shows. You know how it shows? there are times where when they're talking in I don't know if it's called O'Shea or whatever their dialect is called, but when they're speaking in the Indian dialect, there are times where it's definitely subtitled. But then later on in the film, where you get like the fact that Robert De Niro's known these people for so long, he just knows the language, and you get Leonardo DiCaprio's character, who because he marries an O'Shea, learns the language himself. You get these conversations and things they have where there is no dialogue. I'm sorry, there is no subtitles under the dialogue, but you do get the gist of what's going on and what the conversation's about. And you're just kind of picking it up as you, not that you're learning the language, but you're picking up the inflections and and maybe once in a while some terms. So I really appreciate the fact that the movie didn't subtitle the language the whole time, because especially because it plays off in certain scenes where you're like, what's going on here? It's like you can kind of figure where it's going and see, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're going this route. I mean, there's really not much to say about the movie. I'd be going beat by beat, story by story beat. The drama is good. The tension in a lot of scenes is good. There is once in a while a laugh. Hell, there's a laugh that we all had really at the end, where someone basically is like kind of like not squealing, but giving their take on what happened and telling them what happens. Like, oh yeah, he hired you to kill this person. How'd that work out? I'm sitting here talking to you, huh? Didn't freaking work out very well, did it? I'm like, we all got a good laugh from that. There's also there was like an uncomfortable laugh in the audience, which it wasn't a huge audience, but it was a more sizable audience than I've had in the last couple of weeks. Apparently not as big as Friday Nights at Freddy's will be this coming week, if the projections are from what I saw or what I saw. But we'll get to that when we get to that near the end of the video, where a guy talks about getting money, and he asks, if my kids die, do I get it? You do realize it sounds like you are intending to kill your kids to get the money. It's like, oh, no, not if it's illegal. And we all kind of had this like, wow moment. It's like, whoa. And just it's so straight faced and so like disconnected. Like, holy shit, you're inhuman. The last thing I'll comment on is the fact that the way it ends. The ending of the film is something I didn't see coming, like straight out. And what I mean by that is not how the story ends per se for our characters, but what's the best way to put it without spoiling it? We get the final scene of the movie per se, but the movie keeps going, and it's okay. We get the final scene of the story, but then immediately it shifts over to a completely different scene, and I'm like, wait, what? And then the context of what this really is revealed. I'm like, wow, that is really clever. Unlike with something, say, like Shape of Water, and I love The Shape of Water, but for me, legit, even though it is set up in the film, that dance music sequence comes out of effing nowhere. I am sorry if you disagree with that, and that's fine if you disagree, where that's what the fun of movies. But to me, I feel like that comes out of freaking nowhere. So yeah, yeah. I was looking it up earlier. A movie that tonally and subject matter wise actually kind of fits a little bit with this is a movie that came out in 2017, Christian Bale, called Hostiles. And I saw that with my dad, and tonally, subject matter wise, like this movie does fit pretty well in many ways. In that, honestly, theoretically, you could imagine this taking place in a similar, almost at the same time. But I know it takes place before the 20s, 1920s takes place in I think the 1800s. So, but still, tonally, this film feels a lot like that film, just now like elevated to the next level because it's Martin Scorsese. So look, this film is fantastic. All the praise you're hearing is well warranted. It is 3 hours. Be prepared if you want to go see this movie for a 3-hour sit. In fact, it's 3 hours. Holy crap! No wonder it felt as long. I thought it was no. It's 3.5 hours. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes. Holy hell! No wonder it felt. I got out near midnight. I went in at 8 o'clock. I got out near midnight. Shit. Wow. So actually, it's 1 hour and 26. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes long. Whew. So yeah, just be prepared for that. Also, I can tell you right now, this film's almost certainly not going to make its money back. It doesn't have for a movie like this, a god awful like projected opening weekend this weekend, like 26 to like 30 some odd $1 million. It's it doesn't have that bad of an opening weekend in that regard, but it's made on $200 million. There's no way on earth this movie's going to be making its budget back. And look, Martin, this is cinema. Guess what? The Marvel MCU movies are cinema too, and superhero movies are cinema too. So get that idea out of your head. But more to the point is that one of the things, besides the comments he made about it, the one thing Martin Scorsese does, what bugs me about Martin, and it does, and I call you Martin like I know you, but it bugs me about Scorsese, is his demanding for all these massive budgets for films, and then getting upset when he's not getting those budgets for the films he wants to make, when he's not making films that are going to make money. Like, look, the art house films, the award-winning films, they need to exist. They do. But so do the money-making films. And if a studio says, this is not a sound investment, then, look, I'm sorry, that can't always happen. Now, granted, this clearly was a sound investment. It's not going to make his money back, I don't think. But it is going to be an Oscar contender, and that's prestige. And that's something these films definitely like, is prestige. Which studio released Killers of the Flower Moon? Oh, it's Apple. That's right. This is an Apple film. Pretty sure and certain it's an Apple film. Produced by, based on, screenplay by Eli Roth. Are you kidding? Wow. Okay. Yeah, no, this was Apple. So this, I won't bother really. I mean, I'll talk about it for box office. It's not going to be on the box office end of the year. So yeah, this is my thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon. Have you seen it yet? What do you think? If you haven't seen it, do you think you'll go see it? Let me know in the comments below. Five Nights at Freddy's, though, if what they're projecting holds, holy crap, Blumhouse is going to be having a nice year this year. Because Saw, I believe, if it hasn't made its money back, it's close to making its money back. Pretty sure it has. And then Exorcist is definitely going to make some money back. It looks like it's going to. And then Five Nights at Freddy's, I don't know what the film's made on, but 58 to 80 million projected. That's nuts. Like that's actual nutter butters right there. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.